Welcome back. You are the lucky individuals who get to see more the dumbest name for a user interface program to make a screen do things in Java. Don't ask me where they came up with the name Swing. Uh, Actually, don't ask me where they came up with the names of most things in Java because honestly, I don't know and I don't even know what they were thinking. But anyway, it's pretty easy to use and we're going to learn how to use it now. So here's our file from last time. We just printed out some basic stuff here. We made a little to-do list for ourselves. We want to create our GUI, which stands for Graphical User Interface. We want to link classes to elements in that GUI, and then we want to dynamically change stuff on the screen, which means in the middle of our program, without coding, we want the screen to change. So here's what we're going to do. There's a better way to do this first part, but I don't know what it is, so we're going to do it the not better way. We're going to make a new file here. And when this loads up, you see that there's a lot of different options. We just chose the new project option last time, but in this one, we're going to go to Swing GUI Forms. We're going to select JFrame Form. All right, you can see that there's a lot of different ones here, and I definitely urge you to look up / play with these to see the differences. To be honest with you, at their core, they're not really that much different. Some of them just comes with more features baked in, so that you can do some more things with them. But it's not really too big of a deal right now. So we're gonna hit next, and then let's look at what these fields mean. So class name. This is the name of the class it's going to make for the form. So I'm going to say this is going to be the first project frame. Okay, and this specifies the project that it's under. So the first project, you can see that over here. This specifies the location, source packages. This specifies the package that it's under, the first project. And then this shows you the file name. So I'm actually going to change this because there's a weird bug that if you try to put it in the same package as the file that you already made, it doesn't really work. So let's see if this works. I honestly have no idea. We're going to find out. We'll call this JFrame. That's what package it'll be. And cross your fingers. I have no idea. Oh, hey, something happened. Oh, I think it did something. All right, good. Okay, so if you go to that new package and you select the file, you'll see that it's a little bit different than this first one here. See, this first one only has source and history, but the one we just made has source, design, and history. This is pretty cool. Alright, so we're going to actually stick in the design mode right now. Design mode lets you drag and drop different Swing components onto the screen that will be displayed to the user, whereas the source is obviously your source code. And if you look through it quickly, you'll notice that it's basically the same thing as our first one. There's a couple of other pieces which we'll get into in a little bit, but it's important that you don't touch them. You're going to live basically in the same spot, which is your public static void main string args over here. Okay. Yep. So that's where you're going to live, and same thing as last time, where after that function gets called, that's when you can do any code that you want to run when the program starts up. But let's go back to design mode real quick. So if you look in the top right, in the palette section, look at how many different things you got here. Okay, you can actually drag all these onto the screen. Like, for example, a label, which is a very simple text box, we can drag onto the screen. And look, it creates that label. You have these little squares that you can change the size. Okay, you can actually even change what's in the text box to begin with. So like, here's we can call this, I'm not going to say that. Everybody says hello world. That seems silly. We're going to say donut shop. That's even sillier. Okay. So we can change what's on the label to begin with. That's only what will stay there first. Our goal is to change it in code, but that's fine for now. All right, so there's a label. Let's get a button on there too. Let's see, button. Oh look, button 1. Okay, we can change the text in. Whoopsie. double-clicked it. Don't do that. We could change the text in button 1 if we figure out how to. Oh, there's a way. Ah. Now I'm looking in the properties section over here. This is pretty cool too, because you can change the text right in there. We can say change. There you go. I'm used to the Apple one, where you could double click it and it'll change, but hey. Look at all the different properties there are. There's actually tooltips, text, there's actually a whole lot of other things. What's neat here is you can actually change the color right in here. So if we wanted to change this to a different color, let's say a completely red color, you could. I'm actually going to leave it how it is because I don't want to mess with it too much. There's font, there's all sorts of stuff. You guys know what all those do, so I'm not going to go through them, but you can go ahead and play with them if you want. I think if we dig deep enough, it'll say where it's positioned, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Who's got a minimum size? Wow, there's a lot of stuff. Anyway, okay, so we got a button, we got a label. That's good for now. Let's go back to our source, and you'll see that it's actually created variables for those elements that we just dragged on the screen. It's created a button and a label that it's assigned JButton1 and JLabel1. Okay, now it's really important that you understand a couple things. First of all, this says don't modify, so follow the instructions and don't change it. We're going to actually get into changing this stuff, but seriously, if you mess with this, it's going to break everything. And, you know, then you're going to be like, Mr. Myers, it broke, and I didn't follow the instructions that the screen said. So follow the instructions. Don't modify this. Don't change it. But the important thing to notice is that this name and this name match. Okay, this knows, your code knows that JLabel1 and JLabel1 are the same thing, and your design screen knows that this is JLabel1. So when you reference that in your code, it's going to change that specific element on the screen. Okay, it's something we'll talk about in class. It has to do with the model view controller format of organizing your code. But the challenge with object-oriented programming is that you really have to make these connections kind of like second nature to yourself, and this is the first time you're seeing them. So this is like a multiple way connection. You have a connection to your code, to your, I guess, project hierarchy, and then to your screen. All right, so when we start up the program, we don't really have a, anything that changes those labels. So let's go ahead and change that now. So if we say, if we want to just change what's in the label when we start our program, we can go JLabel1 dot, and I think text will work. I don't know. Let's see. Will you work? No, that won't work. Let's see. I had this somewhere. Somewhere. Is it text? I'm not sure. Oh, set text. Duh. Yay. Set text. Okay, will you work? Apparently that didn't want to happen. Interesting. Not sure why that's not happening. It might be... Hold on a sec. Hold on a second. But let's take that same line and place it up here. So forget about changing it at runtime. Let's go ahead and look up at line 71 where it says private. So this is an example of a private method. You guys have only seen public methods right now. Private means you can only use this method inside the instance of this class. So for example, if you had another class of the same form, that same form could not access this particular object's JButton1 action performed. It basically just means every time you click this one button, you're going to run this one method and nothing else. And that's the only thing that could run off of this button. So if you go ahead and paste your jlabel1.setText will you work line in here, it inexplicably throws no error, and we can go ahead and test it. So let's go ahead and hit the play button. And after a short wait of 25 minutes, it will probably run. Okay, apparently I was not kidding. Oh, wait a sec. Right. Sorry, we have to delete this first. Delete. Alright, now let's try. There's a way to do that without deleting the original file, but again, you live, you learn. Look at this graphic that Java has. The Java coffee cup on the when this would open was so ugly, and now it's very nice. It's sleek. Okay, if all goes according to plan, we should hit this button, and the text changes. Yay, we did it. That's really a lot of fun. Okay, what if, because one of your upcoming projects is a calculator that you will make in Java. So what if we need to do some math? How do we do that? So if you go back to your your code real quick. So let's dissect this method a little bit. It says JButton1 action performed. It takes this argument. It's an action event. So if you're going to be doing a calculator, you're going to have like multiple buttons. Just for example, you might have at least 2 buttons, let's say. Okay, and we can actually just change these values real quick to, simulate the calculator. We'll just use the numbers 1, and we'll use the numbers number 2. We probably are going to need a couple more buttons, like, let's have this be a plus sign, and let's have this be an equal sign. Okay, so this is really just setting up our calculator. This is not an entire calculator yet. And we're going to change this donut shop to actually just do what most calculators do and start at 0. Alright, so that's that. Now if we go back to our code, you're going to notice a couple things. At first it's made more variables, and we're actually going to now want to change these. Because JButton 1, 2, 3, and 4 are not descriptive enough for us. We want to change this. Let's see if we can change its name. This can be the... Oh, no, we can't change it there. We got to change it here. Let's see. I'm not sure it'll let us. Okay, we could try changing it here. Where there's a will, there's a way. Name? No, I don't think that'll do it. Binding? No. Ah, there we go. If you click on the code, in this panel over here, we were on properties. If you click code, you can actually change the variable name right here. So we can call this 1 button, and it should change it. And we can call this 2 button, and we can call this plus button, and we can call this one equals button. Alright, that's good, and if we look at our code now, hopefully it changed it, and hey, look at that, it did. Alright, so you'll notice now that the method has also changed its name. One button action performed, that's good. We should hopefully have some more of these. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, well, we'll get there in a second. Anyway, so if we're going to do our calculator, we have two possible things that should happen when somebody hits this button. So we're going to make some. Let's just pretend that we're ignoring that for a second, and what we'll do when we make this button is we'll just have it change what's on the label to be the number 1. Oh look, we have, it logs the different runs. That's interesting. Let me get rid of that one. I don't think I need 2 screens here. Get rid of this. Okay, so this should do something. This doesn't do anything yet because we haven't told it to. But certainly the 1 button does put a number 1 on the screen. Let's also make it so that we have the number 2 on the screen as well, and for the rest of them. So we can actually copy this method here and change it to bonus points for guessing. Just kidding, no bonus points for guessing. This should probably say 2 button action performed. Can you figure out what the next 2 should be? You guessed it. This one wants to be plus, and this one wants to be equals. Okay, again, notice how we're linking what's on the screen to the code with these variable names. Very important to start getting used to doing that. All right, now when the 2 button is pushed, it should probably set the text to be 2, and then when the plus button is pushed, well, we need to do something completely different. But let's forget about that for now and run it and make sure that 1 and 2 work. Here's 1. Did I do the right one? Oh, let me try again. 1. No, that doesn't work. Let's see. Binding? No. Events. We have to go back into the events thing. So see how the first button has action performed under events, but the second button does not? Let's go ahead and link it up. Oh, and it'll create its own code. So, okay. Okay. So we can't manually set the code ourselves because it yells at us. Come on, NetBeans, we're not that stupid, right? Okay. So we're going to go action performed. The nice thing is that it does write these for you, so it does save you a nice bit of time. Alright, so we have set text 1, set text 2, we have the other ones made. Now it should finally work. Let's see. Here's 1, here's 2, yay, and these don't actually do anything. Alright, so that's good for now. So what you guys learned is you guys learned how to link up, or how to create a fairly basic UI. You learned how to link up buttons to actions in your code, which is great. You learned how to change what's in a label on the screen. Next time we're going to learn some more swing stuff, and we're going to work towards building our calculator, including how to set variables that you could use to be helpful on your calculator. If you want a quick preview, think about what you need to do when you hit the plus sign. Okay, basically you need to check if an operation is being performed. If not, start one, right? Because if you already hit that plus button, or if you already hit the times button, you need to have like a string of your current operation because of PEMDAS. Maybe we won't go that complicated, but I don't know. Anyway, the bottom line is though you have to add, variable 1 and variable 2. and then you have to display these. So this is going to be a pretty sizable method that we'll write, and we need to do that for each operation if we really want to build a calculator. But that's all for now, because that's plenty, and I hope you'll take your lesson assessment that's included on the rundown, which I'll link at the bottom of the screen. Ciao!